Hiya! Penguin Truth here. Well, it's Christmas time again, and the entire Penguin Union Nation is brimming with the spirit of the season. And a lot of other spirits, mostly gin and whiskey. Here at Penguinopolis, we're gearing up for a festive holiday and a return to our little niche in the town of Otaku Revolution in the new year. But whatever holiday you celebrate, whether it's Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, Boxing Day, Saturnalia, or, Omisoka, you're probably going to gather with friends and family for a good old meal. I may be reviewing Japanese animation, but I'll be observing the Swedish tradition of the Julbord, or Christmas table. Okay, maybe I won't be eating ham broth, lutefisk, or beetroot, but a little of Janssen's Frostella couldn't hurt. Maybe some rice pudding, sausages, some schnapps to wash it down. But let's face it, I'll probably just have a steak and some Pims, and the three main courses will be anime, and anime. So let's get ready for a triple dose of Christmas-related anime offerings while we wait for the boiled potatoes. What's first, I wonder? Lupin the Third Part 2. So there's another Christmas episode in this. Yes, now I remember. Something to do with lightsabers? Let's take a look. Lupin, Jigen, and Fujiko are hanging out in New York City in front of the famous Tiffany & Co. headquarters. Lupin isn't particularly impressed by the storefront, but seeing that all the beautiful jewels are behind bulletproof glass and the walls are reinforced with solid iron, he's somewhat daunted. Suddenly, they're approached by a woman, Marguerite, keen on the idea of them attempting robbery. And it turns out that she actually owns the store, and on top of that is a broadcast reporter looking for fame. This means pitting her store's security against the Lupin gang for a Christmas special, an attractive prospect that will benefit her greatly. At the rundown hotel Lupin and Jigen stay at, the press swarm in to ask Lupin about the challenge, and he's more annoyed than anything else. Marguerite tries to woo the group by setting them up in fancy digs, and even some spending money, hoping they'll take her offer.
Just cab fare, really.
That's real nice of you.
Yeah, big heart.
Hey, are you and I talking about the same thing?
Although Lupin and Jigen turn Marguerite down, Fujiko's determined to at least enjoy her stay at the suite and spend all the money given to her. And naturally, this won't have any effect on whether Lupin will take the challenge or anything, right? And then the episode gets weird. It was already kind of strange, what with Lupin coming to New York City to enjoy Christmas at a shitty hotel, and then leaving before Christmas to Panama to go fishing. But just take a look at what this guy they're fishing with's invented.
You see that? Told you, like a charm.
Why is this guy still a poor fisherman? Ooh, looks like I got an answer. He may have a few bugs to work out. Anyway, Fujiko's been spinning up a storm and is deep in debt, and the only way out is for the crew to take the job for Marguerite. The Tiffany's owner and fame seeker happily reports to reviewers that the Christmas special is indeed on now, as Lupin and his group, now including Goemon, enter the store, finding Inspector Zenigata in a cheery mood to show them what they're up against.
Not even a cockroach like you could get in. It's true. Allow me to demonstrate for you with this.
Well, at least the lasers aren't solid, or that cigarette would have gone up like in Cagliostro. A dejected Lupin is even less happy to take the job on now, especially on behalf of a still-spending Fujiko.
Fujiko, are you nuts? What the hell is this?
It's a Rolls. Have you ever driven one of these cars? The ride is just so smooth.
Hey, Fujiko! Oh. If Zenigata doesn't get me, she will. I mean, what's wrong with the subway?
But you know Lupin, the man is nothing if not a fount of ingenuity, and he quickly thinks up a plan to give the team a chance to rob the store on Christmas Eve. It involves contracting Jabopee with his laser wrangler invention, using a series of pulleys, Goemon's inhuman cutting abilities, and the New York City subway system. Talk about pulling a caper. A little night fishing is in order in celebration, and I hope they paid Jabopee well for his participation.
Now these would add a very festive touch to anybody's Christmas tree.
So, all is well that ends well. With the Lupin gang's debt paid off, they leave the Big Apple having decorated Lady Liberty. Only for Lupin to steal the statue some years later with a balloon, but I've gone over that. Honestly, it's not one of the show's best episodes because the laser grabber thing is just... yikes. If that thing exists, why isn't it used more often in the show? But it's still pretty enjoyable to see Lupin's mind work to pull off a tricky heist, and the Christmas trapping certainly helped to give the outing some charm. I'm a little surprised that there haven't been more Christmas-related Lupin adventures. You'd think it'd be a natural fit with him stealing Christmas, or stealing from Santa or something. Ah well, moving on. Let's see what our second course is. I think this is where the cheeses and breads are served in the Julbord. Vandred? I hope this isn't just warmed up leftovers. Ah, that's right. When I covered it on Action Channel month, I didn't really cover the Christmas episode of the show. I was saving it for just this occasion. So let's take a look. The crew of the Nirvana, made up of space pirates from the woman-only planet of Majer and 3 men from the men-only planet of Tarak, are preparing festivities for Christmas as they pass near an ice comet. The guys on the ship, especially our hero Hibiki, are perplexed by the celebration as Tarak never really had holidays, just competitions. But the women are all busy decorating, preparing for the feast, or trying to get the snow machines to work for an atmospheric good time. While rifling through some old material left from the colonial period, Hibiki and Dita come across a recording of a startling scene. A man and woman living together, having their own family. While this is culture shock for pretty much everyone on board since men and women have always lived apart in their lifetimes, Dita finds it tantalizing. With the snow machines malfunctioning, both Maya and Hibiki have the same idea and take off to the comet to retrieve some ice. They encounter each other as well as a harvester and are forced to team up despite their continued reluctance. On the Nirvana, Pyoro, inspired by the recording, wants to name Ezra's baby.
How about Pyoro too?
Yeah, let me think about that. Oh, I'll help with that.
Hey, wait a sec! And I thought it was a really good name. Pyoro too.
Delicious Christmas cheese. I guess Christmas was just carried over by the space colonists when they settled on the 2 planets, but Tarak quickly buried it while Majer kept the traditions. Yeesh, living on Tarak would suck. Well, we'll get back to Hibiki and Maya's quest for a white Christmas after these words. An Otaku Evolution Julbord is brought to you by Channel Federator Network, Maker Max Studios, and whatever shows up in the mid-roll or overlay, probably Groupon or some Hulu show or PragerU. Did you know that's not a real university? You can't just call yourself a university. That's like calling Otaku Evolution Anime U. It's more like Anime FU, am I right? Anyway, how's your sex life? We now return to an Otaku Evolution Julbord with your hosts, Penguin Truth. Oh, hi, welcome back. I'm just enjoying a delectable pastry native to the Penguin Union called the Cinnamon Overlord, or Cinnalo. It's especially popular around the holidays because the Penguin Union was founded around this time as well. It's a thick breaded bun filled with vanilla icing and topped with cinnamon and confectionery sugar. Oftentimes it's shaped like a ship and called Frampan, after the ship of the first man who reached the South Pole, Raoul Amundsen, which can contain fish paste. But let's get back to the Swedish Julbord full of Japanese animation. Duello keeps Parfait company as she struggles with a snow machine. She suddenly asks if he plans to give her a Christmas present, which is an odd thing to ask at the last moment to a guy who didn't even know you were together. She doesn't even get him anything. What a weirdo. But hey, who cares about that when we have Santa Vivian?
Well, what do you think? It's perfect, isn't it?
Duello has a chat with Bart about gifts, but the cocky coxswain is confident that he has the right stuff for the target of his affections. Speaking of her, BC figures out that Hibiki and Maya are in the comment. Hibiki just wants to get some ice for Dita, but ends up having to combine his mecha with Maya's craft so they can escape in time for the celebration. The celebration officially starts with the captain throwing out gifts, but then they notice something they never expected. It's snowing in space as the result of the battle in the comet. And coincidentally, Parfait's snow machine begins working, so there's a white Christmas on the bridge as well. Duello gives her a painting, Bart gives BC colored lights and receives nothing. Barnett slips a ring on Jura and also receives nothing. And finally,
I love it. Oh, mister.
having slept through the feast, much to his chagrin, Hibiki checks out Dita's present to him, which is some kind of, yeah. And the Nirvana continues its way through space. This might be my favorite Christmas episode of an anime. It's certainly up there, at least. You don't often get a Christmas episode of a spacefaring show, but there's plenty beyond just the novelty. This is probably the best example in Vandred of the three male characters trying to adjust to the cultural trappings of the ladies on the ship, and also shows that both Hibiki and Maya can go beyond gruff and cold exteriors respectively to exhibit a selfless desire to make others happy. It's good, simple fun with a little warmth, not too corny, but humorous and endearing. With that said, we come to the final course of the Yule board for this year. Some dopey gratin, pork ribs, those suspicious meatballs from IKEA. Ah, splendid! It's Azumangadayo! Even better than the Yoskinka. Azumangadayo, a show I should really cover in its entirety, is a comedy based on a 4-koma by Kiyohiko Azuma for Dengeki Daio magazine, thus the name Azumangadayo. The manga and the anime is a collection of short little scenes of a group of high school girls and a few teachers and their Seinfeldian conversations. So yeah, kind of the cute girls doing cute things trope that plagues today's anime, but so much better handled. The main cast includes child prodigy Chiyo, Out to Lunch in a Day's Osaka, not her real name, hyperactive Tomo, quiet athlete Sakaki, straight woman Yomi, competitive Kagura, and Kaorin. Then there's their English teacher, the irresponsible Miss Yakari, and the gym teacher, Miss Nyamo. Oh, and Mr. Kimura, who is creepy as fuck! Now, the episode doesn't really start out as being about Christmas, it kind of eases into it later on. Instead, it begins with Chiyo and Osaka in an intense debate over which parts of a panda are black or white. They both make an effort to draw a panda from memory, but Tomo and Yomi aren't impressed with either rendition. The conversation somehow, Osaka, turns into a scary story one of the girls, Osaka, relates. And it's because it's Osaka that, well...
Sometime last night, I was all alone in my room, and suddenly, out of nowhere, the smell of a fart that wasn't mine wafted into my nose.
Next we see Miss Yukari, tired of the daily grind, switching things up by trying to teach gym class. Of course, this means leading the students in a soccer match that she's completely hopeless at, despite her enthusiasm, and Dodgeball, where jerk Tomo targets and terrorizes Chio. Later, Yukari peruses a gift catalog, piquing Nyamo's interest. Naturally, Yukari is only looking through it for herself, especially fancying the food for sale. She violently shuns any kind of practical gift like flatware, or even Chio's suggestion, an ice cream set. Because Yukari is basically an adult Tomo. We finally get into the holiday mood when Tomo loudly asks Chio if she still believes in Santa. Kagura is desperate to save Chio's innocence, but it erupts into a heated argument over how Santa could be real if he is. Chio may be a child, but she's a smart cookie and she knows that Santa is her father. But she happens to say this around Sakaki, who already once dreamed that Chio's father was a cat. And so...
Oh, thank you so much! Yay! My father is Mr. Santa!
Yes, that's right. The government pays me to deliver presents to everyone.
Amazing!
And I can fly at Mach 100.
Amazing!
It's just one of those running gags in Azumanga Daioh, Sakaki's obsession with cats, and how she always imagines Chio's dad as one. Sakaki is... she's not so different from Osaka, I guess. And by the way, in the Japanese version, Chio's dad is voiced by Norio Akamoto.
Maybe.
Chio is still somewhat innocent, though, because Tomo compares Yomi's Christmas wish of money to her precocious classmate's desire for the big star on the train station's Christmas tree. This transitions into the question of whether reindeer really exists, which, while Tomo is hilariously certain about them not being real, is corrected that they indeed are. They just can't fly. Tomo doesn't take this well. Tomo is my favorite Azumanga Daioh character. On Christmas Eve, or on Christmas night, it's not clear, the core group, so mean to Kagura and, what's-her-face, Kyorin, meet for some festivities. Osaka idly wonders about the tragedy of Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer's lot in life, and then the troupe find themselves at a karaoke place where Sakaki impresses. Fortunately for the dub, Christy Naughton is a decent enough singer, but you'll have to check it out yourself.
I was going home, a detour on the way, a side trip with my friends would surely turn around an ordinary day.
Wow! Oh, that was good! Mr. Cocky, that was amazing!
You're really good at this, you know?
Yeah, talk about a surprise!
There's always at least one in a group whose singing is just pure poison. And unfortunately for the serious and studious Yomi, it's hers. She brings the pain. But all's well that ends well, because despite some teasing, the group stops to enjoy the wonder of a sudden snowfall.
It's snowing.
Oh, wow, snow on Christmas! Isn't that so romantic?
Yep. It's a white Christmas. For sure.
Mr. Kimura, what the?
Oof. I'm full now. I better let this settle before I try the dessert. But Azumanga Daioh was sweet and fluffy enough, so perhaps I'm done until... tomorrow. It's difficult to review a single episode of Azumanga Daioh, because on the whole, it's just... then they talked about this, then they had a theory about that, then they did some pratfalls and Chio did something cute. But while it's so light and trifling, it's what you kids call comfy. The characters can at once be stereotypical and defy stereotypes, leading to a great deal of humor that comes from subverted expectations. Speaking of comfy, I feel like sleeping this meal off. Hey Terry, take care of all this stuff, will you? I gotta rest up for gift exchanges tomorrow. We don't have much time before we have to get Penguinopolis into the sky again. We can't leave all this clutter around. Then there's Pen's plans, taking his new students to the Mark II for... something. I still have a year-end show to do, though, so stay tuned for that. Until then, this is Mike, Penguin Truth, wishing you the very happiest of holidays. Until next time, see ya! No, never mind that. I'll have that dessert after all. Yeah, the chocolate one.
Merry Christmas. そうだよ。お金は国が出してくれる。すごい！マッハ100で飛ぶし。